All right, guys. So let's talk about a subject today that is can bring a lot of angst and upset a lot of us men out there. Alimony. You know, why is alimony still a thing in 2025? Welcome back to Resilient Man channel. So that's what we're going to cover today. We're going to discuss alimony, which I'm calling a woman's residual income, her passive income after she exits with cash and prizes. So if you would comment down below or like and subscribe to Resilient Man channel, especially if you have dealt with the subject of alimony and your divorce. It's always a fun subject. So, but no, it is a fair question to ask nowadays, because so many women today, or many women, are well educated and they make a good salary. Yet, in many cases in divorce, alimony is still on the table. It's still a subject. And, it begs the question, why? I mean, it should be rare, quite frankly. It should, non-existent in many cases. So that's what we're going to talk about today, and how this greatly affects men is one of the factors in a lot of men, especially young men who are not wanting to get married today, because alimony is a factor if it ends in divorce. And then for you guys who are watching who are married and you've thought about exiting the marriage, but you know that alimony could be a possibility as well, in addition to child support and that type of thing, which is, gosh, that's a tough thing to overcome if you exit the marriage and you are saddled with alimony in addition to child support and everything else that she gets to take per a family court system that is going to usually side on her side anyways. So, in my case, in my marriage, I made about 2/3 of the household income. And I would venture to say with many marriages, that's still the way it is. Yes, there are a lot of women out there who, again, they're well educated and some are making strong 5-figure incomes or even strong 6-figure incomes. That is true. But I think in many cases, the husband usually brings about 2/3 of the income. And that was my case. And I've shared my story or some of my story on other Resilient Man content. My ex walked in one day. She said, "I'm leaving. I don't want a divorce. Let's work on our marriage separately and see if we can reconnect in the next year and go on." Long story short, a lot of other things went down and I filed papers. I divorced her, walked away completely scot-free. But when she exited the marriage, when she initiated the separation, she walked in, she said, "I'm leaving." It was a Thursday morning, and by Sunday, she had moved out the entire house. She took basically everything. And at the time, I didn't fight it because the plan was we're going to reconcile and reconnect, but that did not happen. But in my situation, and maybe this is similar to your situation, she moved out and she moved into a nice neighborhood. She rented a home in a nice neighborhood, very nice house, I would say, at the level we were currently living at or better. She took all the furniture, she took everything, and, that type of thing. So when I decided to file for divorce, and I did 3 consultations with 3 separate attorneys trying to find the attorney that I wanted to represent me. And the first 2 told me that in my state, which is true in many of states, maybe it is in yours. If you don't know, I would highly recommend you research it to see what the law is in your state regarding alimony. But they told me that I explained the situation. She left. She has abandoned the marriage. She moved out. She's moved to a very nice home in a very nice neighborhood. So her quality, her standard of living is excellent. She's just fine. And even with explaining that as part of my situation to these attorneys, they both told me, they said, that doesn't matter. Based on the fact that you make a little bit more than her, a third more, you may owe her alimony. You would take the length of the marriage, you would divide that in half, and the judge will determine what you would pay each month. And I was like, why? Why is alimony even a concern or even on the table? She left the marriage. She initiated, like we all have heard, 80% of women are initiating and filing for divorce. So I was just flabbergasted. She leaves and I may owe her money? Some of you men are out there watching this and you are learning this yourselves and you're experiencing this yourselves. It's absolutely crazy. It's absolutely ludicrous. Now, when I met with my final attorney and I explained the situation, and he was much more knowledgeable, thank goodness. And he said, well, given these situation and these factors, we can bat that away. And so, but again, in my situation, I was able to file papers, divorce her, and walk away. No alimony, no nothing. So, but it still begs the question, why is alimony so easily an option for a lot of wives or former wives? Why is the court so willing to consider alimony when really, she should be expected, or if her standard of living has not gone down, it's equal to what you are living with now, then why would it even be concerned? And so this was a real eye-opener for me, and I was absolutely shocked that I could possibly owe her money. And I'm sure many of you men have experienced this or learning this as well. It's interesting. You guys might remember here in the last few years, Governor DeSantis of Florida ended lifelong alimony in the state of Florida. And, some of the women down there just went ballistic because their cash cow was coming to an end. But it begs the question, why was alimony lifelong in the first place? I mean, what entitles a woman to a passive residual income for the rest of her life just because you were married to her? The bias and the corruption towards men in the family court system with regard to alimony is just astonishing. This is alimony for some women is essentially their retirement plan. It's their passive income. Talk about biased and corrupt. It's just incredible. So, I bring up this question because, it's alimony is something that should be rare, and it should be legitimately applied, shall we say, because the woman cannot sustain herself financially as she did in the marriage. But even that should be brought into question. If you think about what is the answer here, alimony should be in only extreme cases. It should be the woman, let's say the woman was a wife and she was a mother, she stayed at home, she has little formal education or not as much as the husband, and it can be shown in court that she cannot sustain herself without this alimony. Now, even then, the woman should be expected within a reasonable amount of time to increase her education, go improve her education with a degree or furthering her degree or learning a skill that's going to better herself financially within a specific amount of time after the divorce is final. I don't know, maybe 2 years, 3 years, 5 years at the most. I mean, wouldn't that be reasonable that, okay, you're expected to go get a degree or go get a certificate or something to enable yourself to better yourself financially. Why should your husband, former husband, be expected to basically take care of you for the rest of your life? I mean, it's or through an enormous many years after the divorce is final. The laws make no sense. Alimony in many cases makes no sense whatsoever. And of course, on Resilient Man channel and on other male content, this is discussed on how biased and corrupt the family court system is towards men, and awarding these women these cash and prizes, when really it should be on a case-by-case basis, and it should be a situation of, okay, if it's like for like in my situation, she left, she decided that. She moved to a home that was very nice, in a very nice neighborhood, and she was getting by financially. Why would I owe her alimony? Especially when this was her choice. What are your thoughts on this? What are your thoughts? Are you a guy that has been saddled with alimony unreasonably? Is this something that you're concerned about if you are separated and or going through a divorce right now? Comment down below, comment your thoughts. I'd love to hear them. But again, alimony should be only in extreme cases that can be shown through a financial spreadsheet or calculation, and only for a specific amount of time. And when that time is over, the alimony is over, and she has got to stand on her own 2 feet. So let me know what you think. Let me know what you think about this. If you're enjoying Resilient Man content, please like and subscribe. Check out the other content here. We cover a lot of various topics dealing specifically for men and the challenges and such that we face in our daily life. And guys, focus on you. Focus on being the best version of yourself. Know your worth. Protect your peace.